Well, it was a slow and kind of bad start of Battle for Azeroth for me at least. Not for everybody, but for the first 5 hours I was not able to play. And also, in the first 5 hours to the first day, pretty much everybody hit cap. Even though the setbacks hit me, I still took my time, re-rolled with my girl, got our new fresh 110s, and set off into the world of Azeroth. World of Warcraft has changed over the years, some for the good, some for the bad. I feel as of late, World of Warcraft has lost its mystical feel when you first played it. Of course, that changes over time when you start to know the game, know the layout, it makes the world feel smaller. But also, I feel the newer versions of the games set out and tell you where to go too much, and you honestly just don't know, you don't feel the unknown of old school World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft was mystical to me and new, and it didn't tell you where to go, you had to find out where you had to go. And I believe this affects us with the questing of World of Warcraft as well, as in it tells you where to go, shows you directly to go, and you don't really have to read the quest or find out where to go, it just tells you directly where you have to be. And the questing, even though some of the design and the story and some parts of it are actually well done, it's still the base. Go there, kill this, go here, fetch that, go here, get this killed, find this random spawn, do this dungeon. It's all still the basic questing. And when it comes to MMOs, there's not really much they could do to change this aspect. When it came to the story, I honestly could not stand the story of World of Warcraft. I shouldn't say I cannot stand. It was really forced towards Azerite, and honestly, they made Sylvanas look evil and made Horde look evil for doing blunt things just to spark the Azerite expansion, pretty much. And that's where this design flaw comes in too, because once you hit this wall of level cap, you start going after the Azerite. And then eventually you start getting into the, oh, I don't need to farm Azerite, or I've already farmed, all I do is farm Azerite, I'm sitting in the city anyways. And it felt like this was a forced grind that Blizzard forced onto us, and the story behind it was kind of just bland, and it was cool seeing the animations of World of Warcraft and stuff like that, but still I believe that this expansion was definitely a filler with story. Most definitely. I feel like this was completely forced, and they just had to make a reason why Alliance and Horde to fight each other, and I don't believe that they really did a very strong on this when it came to that. When it comes to the actual graphics of the video game, WoW definitely has looked incredible. It's definitely looked the best it ever has. World of Warcraft has gone top notch with the HD graphics. It runs beautifully. It looks beautiful. You can actually zoom in and it doesn't look like a bad texture. It looks, really well done. Even though WoW's graphics do look aged compared to modern video games, they still stand out and look beautiful in certain ways. But it's still to this design flaw of not feeling unknown. When it comes to the overall atmosphere and design, that still holds to Wrath of the Lich King in my opinion. Wrath of the Lich King had the best atmosphere and design of any of it. And at the time had the best graphics, but that changes over time. The graphics always are going to get better over time. But when it came to quest design, atmosphere, and just the level design of the world itself, I think Wrath of the Lich King went on top here. But I'm not going to sell short on this expansion. A lot of places we've been to have been very, very well done. Nazmir is definitely up there, my favorite. Drustvar, we 100%ed simply because we love Drustvar, and a lot of the Horde leveling zones in general were pretty well made. I felt like Alliance side was sort of lack, and it actually makes me happy that I'm going to go level Horde next or something like that. But overall, I don't feel the mystery of WoW they used to give me. When I first started playing World of Warcraft, I felt like I was in this open, massive world of mystery. I have no how, no him. But of course, over years, that changes. I almost feel like World of Warcraft needs to go, or Blizzard needs to go back and revamp all of World of Warcraft with new quests and HD design, and that would honestly be incredible, in my opinion, and it would make me want to play WoW more. Not much has changed when it came to the classes and talents of Battle for Azeroth. If you haven't played World of Warcraft since Mr. Pandaria, out with the talent trees, and new talent system has been come in. Now this talent system has been altered and moved around a few times since pretty much Warlords and Legion. There was a pretty good big change, but not much has changed all around when it came to these talents. A few specs have been switched over, survival to melee, that was during Legion, and then a lot have changed other than that. But it's still, in general, since Mr. Pandaria, it's been the same talent system. But they added new things when it came to the World PvP system. You could actually have little extra talents than PvEers, which I thought was a well-made thing. World PvP, or I should say War Mode, was a very interesting concept, and we'll get over more of that later. Right now with the classes though, in general, not much has changed at all. It's still the same. Switch your classes, you can change your spec and all that, but I do believe they made it a little bit better and easier in Battle for Azeroth compared to Legion, because in Legion you had your power and your weapon, and it was hard to switch and get everything correct all the time and switch back and forth with your weapon, so you had to stay in one spec if you challenged for that. But in this expansion, they made it a little bit more easier for people to switch over, because it just goes by your gear, and your gear, you can switch it over very easily. It's well made and very well done the way that they did this with the talent system, and that's why they kept it. And it hasn't changed since the Mr. Pandaria. And it's been a very if and and with people. People want the talent tree back, and people don't. It's made it a lot more simpler. I am 50-50 with this, because I remember the talent trees used to be hell. World of Warcraft PvP. The cream of the crop, or should I say, the butter on toast. World of Warcraft PvP has always been my favorite part of WoW. I've been playing WoW since I was a little kid, and PvP aspect has been the main, for me at least. I've always raided, and I've always done everything, but when it came to everything, PvP was my main focus. And in this expansion, they do not sell short on this. It's pretty much, yeah, Alliance versus Horde. This expansion is pretty much focused around PvP. They added new battlegrounds, new arenas. They've added, a lot more to this expansion than almost any other expansion when it comes to PvP. Queue up instantly for random battlegrounds and get Conquest and Azerite. There's Epic Battleground mode now, which is pretty much Arkham Valley and Isle of Conquest. And then there's Brawl, which is you basically go in a 5v5 arena versus another team. Whoever's in the circle and captures the circle, pretty much like Eye of the Storm, and then attacks the boss and kills the boss or gets the boss lowest within a certain time, wins. Instantly farm conquest points for gear, and there is no actual cap when you are behind. When you're behind, it gives you a chance to catch up with conquest points, which I believe is really well done. Honor system is completely different now. They took out the old honor system and put in a new honor system, much like Call of Duty, where you could rank up, get gear, and it shows your rank via honor as well too. This is all very well done, and they've done this perfectly. War mode was a fresh, new concept to World of Warcraft when it comes to open world PvP, and I loved it. It was new, it was fresh, and honestly, it gave you an opportunity to switch back and forth no matter what server you're on. War mode changed up a lot of different things, and they sort of push you to do it to get new talent and to get bonuses to your world quest, and you get more bonuses when you do war mode. But it's also very very fun while you're leveling. I started off war mode at 112, and I was killing 120s. It was war mode was put onto this expansion to basically, if you didn't want a PvP, you have the choice to just go to your main city and switch back out, and then boom, you can just do all the expansion without ever worrying about ever being camped. Or if you like PvP, war mode, you switch it on, and you could be the camper. I honestly love this concept. This concept changes a lot of different things, and it makes it to where more people could be on multiple servers of the same type, and not be like, oh, I don't want to be a PvP, or I don't want to get camped when I'm doing my quest. That stops that. So, War Mode definitely was a very interesting new concept to it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. When it comes to World of Warcraft rating, for a lot of people, that is the main thing. Huge. And WoW rating has always been massive. They've altered it over the years and it's changed. And in this expansion, it's not that much different than Legion. If you played World of Warcraft Legion, this is pretty much how you raid. You go from the start, quest gear, get your item level up a little bit with the regular mode dungeons, then switch to heroic mode dungeons, and then you go either to Mythic or Raid Finder. You start doing those and start getting more better gear, so you move up to normal mode, then heroic mode rating, and then the final mythic mode rating, which is the ultimate gear. This system has been the main system for a while now, and it's worked well. It has. But it also, in this aspect, since there is no true PvP gear, you sort of have to raid in order to get the better gear to PvP with. So I'm sort of stuck having to raid in order to get better PvP gear. I don't mind this, but I do because I miss the old system with PvP gear where I would earn all my PvP gear, and it was at two separate chains. You had your PvE gear and then your PvP gear. Now you can put it together. You don't even need to switch that out. But raiding is still pretty much the same thing as Legion. It's pretty much steamroll all the way up into heroic mode. Heroic mode, most of the time you do need Discord or some type of voice in order to get it straight out. But when it comes to actual boss fights, it's still the basic. Watch where you're standing, don't stand in fire, move out of the way in this direction, make sure you're not looking at this specific way. It's all pretty much the same things. There's still no hard CCs in raiding that I've seen so far. I've only gone up to about normal mode, guys, so I haven't tried heroic mode yet, or even mythic mode. So I believe that there still is no prominent CC in raiding or even dungeons, which used to be a thing back in vanilla WoW. But in general, when it comes to the gear loot system, you still have your own loot system when you go all the way up until a personal loot system. You can still roll for gear. There's still a lot of different things aspect of it. Warfronts. Now, Warfronts were a different, new, fresh, added thing to World of Warcraft, and it was an interesting concept, but it wasn't something that I just want to do all the time. It's just there for every couple of weeks. It's almost like, Tolbarad, pretty much, or Winter Springs, or the Wrath of the Lich King big battleground. It's pretty much that's what it is, and but versus AI, and it's pretty much an RTS, a giant RTS. You go and get your metal supplies, bring it back, and get your your front up and stuff like that, so you battle against the horde. And they did it. It was a very fun concept, but it's not something I want to do every single day. and it's you know, it's just something new added onto it, I believe. Island Expeditions. Island Expeditions were a new added expedition to this to basically get more Azerite and have little expeditions to basically get your Azerite farmed up. And this concept was just another added PvE element into it as well. You can get little pieces of gear here and there from it, but it's not something huge. It's not something you have to do every single day. It's just there, little extra thing to add on to it. It was a cool concept, and it's pretty much you could go 2 people, 3 people, or 4 people in this island expedition. And the more people you have, the harder it is, the harder the fights are. But all in all, it really isn't that hard. It's just a simple go kill this, go kill that, collect enough Azerite, and kill the horde AI, and that's it. It was that. That's pretty much all it was. It's a new added thing to Battle for Azeroth, but I don't think it was the greatest thing added to it. All in all, Battle for Azeroth was a well-done expansion. If you haven't played World of Warcraft in a few years, this definitely would be a fresh, new take on the game. But if you've been playing the game pretty much every expansion like I have, there hasn't been anything newly added that's completely tremendously game-changing. There's still all the same basic concepts of Legion still in there, and a lot of Mr. Pandaria and Warlords of Draenor aspects are put in there as well. If you haven't picked up the game in a long time, though, you definitely will find a lot of new aspects that are interesting. When it came to the actual world itself, it was incredible. Very well done, Blizzard. I give you a clap on the actual world. Story, I feel like they lacked completely on. World of Warcraft story, or I should say Battle for Azeroth story, was completely lacked and was just completely forced. I feel the Azerite was just another concept of forcing people to grind. And I also feel that they were shortcoming on the quest design and leveling in this as well, because we had people hit level cap within the first 5 hours. Even though this expansion had a few setbacks, there's still a lot of things that were completely fun about it. The PvP aspect of it was completely up there in the way I loved it. The new elements they added to it are still interesting and do keep your time there. If you haven't touched World of Warcraft in years, I definitely believe that you should pick up this expansion and pick up World of Warcraft. And if you've been playing WoW for a while and you just quit for a while and haven't touched this expansion, you just looked on this review to see if you want to get on it, I definitely do recommend to play it, but don't sit there and act like there's something going to be new brought to you. It's all going to be something that you've seen before if you're a seasonal World of Warcraft player. Well, this is my review. I know it's a long one, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please show the love with a like, sub, and share, and enjoy.